Hey, Gary, welcome to Taken TV.
Barry, thank you very much for having me, and thank you for Taken TV's incredible. This is an incredible opportunity for me to interview with Taken TV and your incredible network. So thank you for having me on your show today. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, Gary. So we know now that you are running for president of the United States in 2028.
That is correct. Yes, sir. Let me quickly introduce myself to your great viewers. My name is Gary Barve. I am a youth supporter of our President Donald J. Trump, a proud Republican of the Republican Party that belongs to our President Donald J. Trump. And I'm officially running for President of the United States of America in the 2028 election, like you correctly said, Barry, to help President Trump make America great again, keep America great, and save America. And I'm running because I love President Trump. I love our country, the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. And I love our great American people. And I want to help President Trump make America great again. That's why I'm running, Barry.
Yes. So let me ask you, just start with a couple of questions,
All
that our
right.
viewers would probably want to hear.
Okay.
When you are making a difficult decision, when you would be making a difficult decision for the country, who would you rely on? How would you make those decisions?
That's a great question. So, the first thing I'll say is I've made a campaign promise, and I keep all my promises. I've a reputation in the political realm that I keep all my promises. But I've made a campaign promise, it's on my campaign website, that I will support President Donald J. Trump's America First agenda 100% until November 2028. And I made this promise, Barry, a long time back. It was not like I made the promise after he became the Republican nominee or after November 5th, 2024. I said, so let me just share a story with you here.
Okay, sure.
November 15th, 2022 was when President Donald J. Trump announced that he's running for the presidency in 2024. And look, I respect all religions. I want to say that very strongly. I respect all religions, but I'm Christian and I believe Jesus Christ is Lord and Savior. And I said at that time, when he announced in November 2022, I said, President Trump is a big Christian. Jesus Christ is with President Trump, and President Trump will win this election on November 5th, 2024, and he will save America. And you know what happened after that, right? You had indictment 1, indictment 2, indictment 3, indictment 4 against President Trump because of the political weaponization of the Department of Justice skewed against President Trump by the corrupt Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, or dumb as a rock Kamala Harris, Democrat Party. I've actually started calling the Democrat Party the Kamala Democrat Party because she was the nominee and she is the flag bearer for that party. And so we had the indictments against President Trump, and then we had assassination attempts against President Trump. Assassination attempt 1, assassination attempt 2 against President Trump. You know, the first assassination attempt, it was like 1/8 of an inch. Here and there, it would have been an even worse day than what it was. But, I said, President Trump is a big Christian. Jesus Christ is with President Trump. President Trump will win this election. And November 5th arrived, and he won in a landslide, right? He won all 7 battleground states, one after the other. He won all 7 battleground states. And so, all this to say that while I respect all religions, I believe in Jesus Christ as God, Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. And so, I rely on prayer, I rely on Jesus Christ as well to help me with the decision making process. But the practical, real way in which I make decisions is this. I've read this book by President Trump. It's the greatest book ever written after the Bible. It's called Think Big by President Trump. And in the book, he talks about a lot of things. It's tremendous wisdom in that book. Highly recommend Think Big by President Trump. Please read that book. It's a great book. And in the book, he talks about, think big. He talks about go against the tide, right? He says when you go against the tide, that's when the big successes come. And I want to make the country successful. I want to make America great again. But he also talks about how to make decisions. And he says, analyze the data in a limited amount of time, in a specific amount of time duration, and then make a gut instinct decision. And I really find that to be an incredible way of making decisions. And so that's how I make decisions. And like I said, I've made a campaign promise. This is the weave, right? Like President Trump says during his interviews, he calls it the weave. And so, like I said earlier on during the answer to your question, I'm going to support President Trump's America First agenda 100%. until November 2028. And then if I get the great honor of being elected President of the United States of America in November 2028, I've made a campaign promise that I will always make decisions for our country, keeping you, our American people first, and keeping our country, America, first. And so that's how I will make decisions for our country.
Excellent, excellent. What is your definition of leadership? And and other than we know President Trump, other than President Trump, who would you consider a great leader?
Well, I would just say President Trump. He's had a tremendous positive influence on my life, Barry. And I went through a clinical depression-related illness in my life. I want to say I have now made a complete recovery from my clinical depression-related illness, and I thank Jesus Christ. I thank President Trump. I thank our great medical staff and my friends for this recovery. But I think he has had a tremendous positive influence on my life. And I was completely down and out, and I was looking for inspiration because of the former clinical depression related illness. I was completely down and out. And I started reading his books, started watching his videos, President Trump's books, videos, and interviews. And I got tremendously inspired to fight not just for my life, but to fight for my country. And the more I learned about President Trump, I learned about leadership skills and the ability to lead from President Trump. And so I would say he's the greatest leader our country has. He's the greatest leader our country will ever have, President Donald J. Trump. But I think leadership to me means the ability to, this is just me, right? I feel it is the ability to be able to deliver in a way that very few people in the country are able to deliver, whatever it is. Like, I'll give you an example. And I don't say that in a pompous capacity, but I've taken on criminal gangs and cartels such as MS-13, which is a horrific gang. They literally cut people up just for fun. And this Venezuelan gang called Tren de Aragua. Have you heard of that gang? Tren de Aragua. And I said, these gangs are destroying our country. And they have come across the southern border because of the illegal immigration that's happening under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And I said, so I went on a few radio shows. Very recently, I went on a couple of radio shows. And I said, I'm addressing these gang members, the Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aragua and MS-13. I'm addressing these gang members directly right now on this radio show. I hope you're listening in. My message to you is get the hell out of our great United States of America. If you don't, we will incarcerate members of your gang, or we will kick members of your gang out of our country. And so I'm giving this example to sort of say, not a lot of people in the country are saying things like what I just said. And I could get shot at for the rest of my life, right? I'm ready to take a bullet for our country because I want to keep the American people safe and secure. That is very important to me. And so all this to say that I think if a person, right, any American is able to really believe in what they want to achieve, and try and deliver things that maybe not a lot of people are willing to deliver, what happens is people who really love the country will start supporting you. And that sort of, to me, is a leadership quality that I feel is very important to distinguish yourself from some of the other candidates or some of the other opponents in a way that is very attractive from a courage perspective, for example, in this example, to the American people who are sort of saying, all right, maybe this is a guy that we can support. And I think you have to have heart for the country. I really do believe that President Trump has a tremendous heart for our country. I think that's a very important part of leadership quality as well. If you love the country, you will make decisions for our country, keeping America and the American people first. And I'm talking leadership from the perspective of political, right? From the perspective of leading the country.
Of course.
And so that's sort of my definition of leadership. And hopefully it makes some sense to the people watching, but I think it makes a lot of sense to me. And so happy to share my views with you on that.
Question.
Actually, this would be a cut moment, I think.
Okay, go ahead.
A suggestion and a thought.
Okay.
You sound like you're campaigning for Donald Trump. You don't sound like you're campaigning for Gary Barve. And given that Donald Trump was just elected,
That's right.
I would not lean toward his leadership as the way you're going to lead, understanding that you're going to follow what Donald Trump is what he ran on and what his agenda is, but putting your agenda with that and how you will push that agenda further. But you're wearing a Trump jacket with a Trump hat, and everything you're talking about right now is really, and I don't say this offensively, puppeting what Donald Trump ran on. I think maybe if you campaign under the assumption that we're coming up to 2028, and most all of this has already been done through Donald Trump's administration, keep in mind that your biggest opponent at that time will more than likely be J.D. Vance.
So let me quickly respectfully respond to what you just said, sir. So the first thing I'll say is I disagree with you. Respectfully, right? Respectfully disagree with you. Look, I'm the biggest supporter of President Donald J. Trump in the country. And I say that very proudly and I say that very happily. And like I said earlier on as well, he has had a tremendous positive influence on my life. He's the greatest leader our country has. He's the greatest leader our country will ever have. And so I find it as a matter of very like pride and happiness that I'm able to, I wouldn't use the word mimic, right? I wouldn't use that word, but to follow his leadership because I'm learning a lot from him. I'm learning a lot from President Trump. And so I disagree with you. I think I will always wear the Trump hat or the USA hat. I love the country. I love President Trump. And I love our great American people. So I will wear the Trump hat. It's got a US flag on it as well. Or I will wear the USA hat, which has the 45 or, patriotic hat, country. And I love wearing this Trump shirt. It's a great shirt or sweater, right? It's got the flag on it as well. And so I will say this. I'm going to campaign as the biggest supporter of President Trump in the country. I love President Trump. And so that's my style of campaigning, and we'll see what happens. I'll give you an example. I live in Iowa now. I used to reside in Florida, but I live in Iowa now. And I think we're getting a lot of support. I've been to about 4 or 5 committee meetings, Republican Party meetings, and I think we're getting a lot of support. I think people are very interested in our campaign, and I think it's going to be a great success. Now, I'll say this. I'm giving myself a 1% shot at winning this election right now, 1%. But I think there'll be, like a sports analogy, right? I think there'll be clutch moments during our campaign, during the next 3.5, 4 years. I believe I will win many of those clutch moments, mainly because of my support for President Trump, our country, and our great American people. And also, I believe because of a certain level of courage that I display during on the political stage, right? Now, I want to clarify to you, sir, I'm not comparing my courage with our great police, sheriffs, ICE, military, veterans, firefighters, and first responders. They have a lot more courage compared to most people running for political office, including me, right? Because they literally run in the fire, right? They run towards the bullets. I don't have to do that. I might get shot at, but it's a very different form of bravery. I think they're a lot more brave than I am, and most people running for political office other than President Donald J. Trump. I believe President Trump is the most courageous man on earth. I really do believe that. But so I'm going to campaign in the same way. I'm not going to change it. I love President Trump. And I believe we're going to have a great shot at winning this election as we come closer to November 2028 or January 2028 when the caucus and primary election season starts. I think it's going to be a great campaign. But I appreciate the question. But I'm going to support President Trump in this way going forward. And Barry, let's keep this as part of the interview if we can. I don't mind it.
I love it.
Thank you, sir.
I love it. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. So, what would cause you to fail as president?
I'm not going to talk about it because I don't think, number one, well, the first thing I'm going to say is I appreciate your vote of confidence because you said what would make you fail as president. So it seems like you're already seeing me as president, which is very nice. I like that. Thank you. But no, I don't think I'm going to talk about what the negatives, right? I think let the opposition figure out the negatives. I'm not going to make it easier for them. Every person has negatives. Like, only Jesus Christ lived a perfect life. Now, I respect all religions, but like I said, I'm Christian.
Right.
And I believe in Jesus Christ as God, Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. And only Jesus Christ lived a perfect life. And so every person has flaws, every person is in a certain way imperfect, I think is the word, right? But I'll let the opposition figure that one out for themselves.
Yeah.
And I will say this, wherever appropriate, as President Trump says in his books, videos, and interviews, I will fight back 10 to 15 times harder, politically. I will fight back 10 to 15 times harder. I'm in this to win this election because I want to serve our great American people and help President Trump make America great again, keep America great, and save America. I do believe in an eye for an eye, which President Trump believes in as well.
Yeah.
And I think there are a lot of people who are trying to politically destroy me and maybe in other ways trying to destroy me as well. I've said that on campaign social media, but that's expected because our country is worth fighting for. And so I'm not going to talk about my potential failure points or things like that. Let the opposition figure that out for themselves, and we'll see how we work towards conquering that battle.
Yeah, I think the actual answer to that probably would have been if you didn't follow your convictions to follow President Trump and what your convictions are. I believe that would be.
I think that would be one of the
Yeah,
things. I think
yeah,
that would be
it
one
would
of the
the
things, but
things that, yeah,
I would just say let the opposition
Yeah.
figure it out,
Yeah.
right? Let them.
I agree.
I said, like I said to that gentleman over there, right? I'm gonna follow President Trump 100%. I love President Trump, and I'm gonna keep all my promises. Like I said, I'm following his agenda 100% until November 2028. After that, I'll make decisions for our country. If I get the great honor of being elected president, I will make decisions for our country, keeping America first and our American people first. And so I agree with you. I am going to follow President Trump, and I just love the man. And so, yeah, I mean, that's my answer to your question, sir.
Okay, that's a great answer. Tell me about a time when your judgment has been tested in crisis.
That's a very interesting thing. I think right now, you put me in a little bit of a tough situation, right? When you asked me that question, what's your failure? I think I answered it pretty well.
I think you did.
But I will say the biggest crisis that I faced from a personal perspective was my clinical depression related illness. And that was, I was diagnosed with it during the final stages of my MBA course. I got my MBA from Southern Methodist University in Dallas, Texas, in entrepreneurial strategy and marketing. And during the final stages of the MBA course, I was diagnosed with, a horrific clinical depression related illness. And I struggled and battled with this illness for many years. And I have seen the depth of darkness, the depth of depression. And to be able to come out of it because of the inspiration I received from President Donald J. Trump, from my parents, from the medical staff, from my friends as well, I was able to come out of it, run for city council in Santa Clara, California, as a Republican supporter of President Trump. I wore a red Make Santa Clara Great hat during that campaign. We had a tremendous result. And, we got more votes than the number of Republicans in the district. We got 23%, approximately 23% of the vote, and there were only about 17% Republicans in the district that I ran in. So I had a great result, and I think that was start of the comeback, right? The art of the comeback. I think that's President Trump's phrase as well.
Yeah.
And, I say that in my humble capacity, but for me, from a personal level, to go through some of the things that I've been through, horrific. Like, I would not wish that clinical depression related illness, some of those episodes I went through, on my worst enemy, except for maybe some Democrat elected officials. I wish that they have that a little bit because they're destroying our country, and I happen to love America. But I would say being able to fight back from that clinical depression related illness through pure grit, determination, resolve, love for country, and the inspiration I received from President Trump, my friends, the medical staff, and my belief in Jesus Christ as well, is probably my biggest win when it comes to fighting a crisis situation.
There you go. Yeah. Cool. Was there anything else you want to add at the end here?
Well, I just want to say thank you to Taken TV for giving me the opportunity to interview. I think it's a great honor for me to interview with you, Mr. Barry Alsobrook.
Yes, sir.
And I just want to say this was a tremendous win by President Trump, November 5th, 2024. He won all 7 battleground states. Are you listening, Kamala? All 7 battleground states, President Donald J. Trump won. And I just want to say this. I want to say this, the other thing. there was a rally recently that Kamala did, and if you can call it a rally, right? There were a few people there, and there were these two gentlemen, and I've seen this video on the internet. There was these two gentlemen who sort of said out loud during the rally, "Christ is King, Jesus Christ is God," or something to that effect. Do not maybe not the exact phrase, but they said something to that effect.
Jesus is Lord. Yeah.
Jesus is Lord. And she said, "You're at the wrong rally," to those two people. My message to the Democrat constituents, Democrat voters, right now, I believe the Democrat elected officials are evil people. Most of them are evil people. But there are many Democrat constituents, Democrat voters, who are great people who love the country, but they are misguided by the fake news such as CNN and MSNBC. My message to you is, irrespective of what religion you are, if your so-called leader, Kamala, says to two young Christian gentlemen that you're at the wrong rally when they say Christ is King or Jesus Christ is King, is this a candidate you want to support? Is this a party you really want to support? President Donald J. Trump's America First Republican Party welcomes people of all religion, including our great Christian people. And so I would humbly say, consider switching parties and joining President Donald J. Trump's America First Republican Party. He's the leader who defeated Kamala with all 7 battleground states. And so that is my request to you, and I'm saying it very humbly. And so that's sort of my message to Kamala and the Democrat Party. I believe your constituents will very soon start leaving your horrific America Last Democrat Party. And if I can add just a couple of more things.
Go ahead.
Illegal immigration. My message to the independents, to the Democrat constituents and voters is this. Under Kamala Harris, approximately 20 million illegal immigrants crossed across the southern border into our great United States of America illegally, including gangs such as Tren de Aragua and MS-13. Do you want that? Do you really want that? Thousands of, this is on record, thousands of criminally convicted people are in our country. They came across the southern border. Do you feel safe when that happens? Is your family feeling safe when that happens? The economy, there was so much inflation that people were having trouble putting food on the table for their families. Is that what you want? Why are you voting for Kamala? Vote for President Donald J. Trump's Republican Party because, number one, he's the greatest leader ever, but also because he will get results for our country and he is keeping you, our American people, first, and that's the way it should be. And so that is my parting message. So I will say this. We are one nation under God, and in God we trust. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. Make America great again, keep America great, and save America. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, Gary.
Thank you, Mr. Barry.
Yes,
Appreciate
yes,
it,
good
sir.
luck on
Thank you
your
very much.
campaign.
Thank you.